All right, super brief summary. In this video, you are about to see GPT-4 analyze an existing Python package and essentially add a feature. So currently, before GPT-4, we have FindMyFile, which is able to search for keywords and basically find all the matching documents in both Linux and Windows. So it'll basically say, my two keywords were tkinter and place. These are the matching files, and that's that. So it's a beautiful little package that I wrote that you can get from PyPy. With the help of GPT-4, it's going to add a progress bar. It's going to look like that. And the reason why I think this is a very, very important piece of skill is that in the real world, people are always adding to existing code bases. So this type of programming where GPT-4 analyzes existing code and adds to it, this is what I think is the game changer in the real world. And this is what you're going to be seeing in this video. So the whole thing is going to take under 30 minutes. But before we get into that, forgive me, I feel like doing a little bit of a longer intro and talk about my motivation for doing these types of videos. So essentially, I'll be working on these every weekend for the foreseeable future. My goal is to make at least 10, and I'm calling these experiments in GPT-4 coding, or should we say, basically AI-assisted coding. So I'll use GPT-4 in GitHub Copilot, and I'll work on two open source projects of mine. The first one is the one we're going to work on today. It's FindMyFile, and the other one is a competition interface that I use to help me run a coding competition called the Victorian Coding Challenge. As I do this, I'm hoping to actually use these AI tools to understand my own code better. I'll use GPT-4 for documentation, and you're going to see an example of this in this video. The idea that, Copilot and GPT-4 productively add to existing code bases, this is basically learning the skills that are going to be most useful in taking these AI tools and using them sort of in a typical job environment. Essentially, the goal is can we turn GPT-4 and Copilot into, something like a talented junior dev? By the way, all these pictures are done in Stable Diffusion. I more or less paste the dot points and I get these pictures, which is a lot of fun. Okay, so some rules. I'm going to sit down and work for up to 90 minutes. So that's the maximum limit. There's going to be no editing. So you're going to see me experiment and learn in real time. Essentially, every video has a goal. Today's goal is the progress bar. I record these afterwards. So this is like a 30-minute coding video, maybe 40 in total. But yeah, I intend to leave the bad videos. And in that case, the intro is going to be showing you some things where I fail with using AI programming and turn that into a lesson of what not to do. But yeah, this one's been a major success, so that's that. The intro is going to be recorded after the programming is complete. So a couple of things you should know. Just the FindMyFile package currently searches for PowerPoint, document, Excel, PDF, and text in any given directory, and it searches subdirectories as well. And it basically provides you concise results. You just get the matching files, the total files it searched, and a list of files that were unsearchable. Works in both Linux and Windows. The feature wish list. This is what we've done today, or you're about to see me do today. Progress bar. But in future videos, I'll be looking to create a results log, so a TXT file that basically, logs all the search history and all the matched files. CTF mode, I just did Pico CTF. So that's hacking competitions. Essentially, it'll more than match standard sort of Office documents. It will look for strings and substrings inside binaries and other unreadable files. A suite of tests. As I change Python libraries and update this, it would be really great to just push one button and essentially test every aspect of this package. So I'll try to get AI tools to write that for me. Ability to search inside archives will be nice. I've already done something like that in a different package. But yeah, I'm going to try to add it to this one as well. and time filter. Ultimately, can we get some metadata about files and then find that? So that's the longer term future, but this is today's goal. So with that said, let's get into it. Hello and welcome to FindMyFile. So I'll do my best to give you guys a bit of an explanation of this code. The link to it is in the description, so you can get it off of GitHub, run it, try it yourselves. So essentially, the way that this works is everything spins around this file object. So the goal is essentially go through a folder that has a bunch of documents and turn everything into a file object. Now, the file object has the ability to print itself. It has the ability to search itself for up to 2 keywords. You can also search just one. Then from this file object, there are children that kind of inherit this ability to print and search, but they have the ability to read. So you have PowerPoint file, and essentially it basically uses a library to turn all of the content of a PowerPoint into a string, right? And if it succeeds in doing that, that's great. That gets saved in the file.data. If not, it basically becomes self.readable equals false. So if you go through all of the files, you're basically going to get the matching files and the non-readable files printed. Because the matching ones, you'll be able to search this data for the keywords. And the same thing goes, like, PowerPoint is one library, docx is another library, Excel is another library, TXT is easy. Everybody knows that, or I think everybody knows it. PDF, again, this PyMu-PDF, and the PyMu-PDF accesses something called fits. And if you pip install fits, it's not going to work. So really, you got to be careful. You import fits, but you pip install PyMu-PDF. If you look in the library, I think in the setup, you're going to have the requirements. So these are the packages you need to install. Okay, go back into FindMyFile. Now let's run one. I have, for example, tkinter, and I use the place function in tkinter. So I should get some results when I run this. And we're going to run the same command in Linux as well in a second. So basically, everything is readable. Nothing came out as files not readable. It searched 34 files, and it found 3 matching files. What I would like to do is, add a little progress bar. Because what if you're searching your whole computer, your whole file system? I can try using like a larger path, and you're going to see that that's going to take a while. So some kind of progress bar would be amazing. And before we actually get to the progress bar, I just want to show you something else. So I'm going to run the same search for tkinter in place, this time in WSL, which is essentially Ubuntu. And I am going to have this XLSX failure. Like, essentially, if you go to the Excel file, this is not going to work. And this could be my very first job for GPT-4, all right? So it worked great on Windows, just didn't work on Excel. So if I go to my GPT-4, and I go, can you please read the function below and tell me what dependencies, and tell me if it is going to work on a Linux computer and what dependencies I will need to install. So it's not a function, it's actually a class. Inherits from file, which is not provided here. The purpose is store that as a string. It utilizes the pandas library. Open PyExcel. Aha. As it's required by pandas to read Excel files. Okay, pip install, open PyExcel. And this would be pretty ridiculous. Let me, I even called it a function, and it was a class, and I also didn't give it what it inherited from. So like that was me asking a terrible question and getting hopefully a good answer. Pip install OpenPy XL. And I didn't have it. And I'm gonna run the same thing again. My lord, GPT-4 for the win. Like, I would have probably spent, you know, 30 minutes searching Stack Overflow to solve a problem like this. And that only took, you know, probably under a minute. So right now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start a new chat. And I'm going to essentially attempt to get GPT-4 to document and understand this, this library. I'm going to press copy the code here. And I'm trying to think, can you please analyze this code and add docs strings in appropriate places? Okay, I think that which will explain the functionality and features of each class. Yeah, the only thing that I'm afraid of is how many lines do we have? I think 167. So will it take it in? Okay. I have a feeling this is going to stop. Wow. Okay, let's see. Like, I will read this. Represents a generic file object name extension. Data of the file. It also provides methods to print and search. Yeah, that's correct. Search prints the file data. Yep. Searches for given keywords. Return true. Yes. Yes. PPTX represents PowerPoint and inherits, overrides the read method to read PowerPoint files. Does it override? Is that the term? But it certainly appears to be true, because all of these add their own read method. Does that? I didn't know whether if the read doesn't exist in the parent class, like do you say overrides? But that is correct. docx inherits, overrides. Yep. So if I copy all this code, I think I might have to So this is going to be really, really helpful with documentation later. Okay. Your response stopped too early. Can you please continue with adding doc strings? Begin at class txt file. Wow. Wow. That's brilliant. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to essentially, I think I'm going to copy this and I'm going to do rename. I'll rename it to FindMyFile G. Actually, I shouldn't have renamed it. When I'm going to delete everything from it. And I'm going to paste. Oops. So I'm going to copy the first code. Okay. And I will stop at the txt file because the second one starts at the txt file. Yeah. It didn't finish. Oh, no, it's still going. So essentially, FilesDB is the object that you create. And FilesDB performs the creation of all of the files. They're added into a list. And then that list is basically searched. So you're going to search, for file in self.files. If it's readable, check for keywords and all of that. Okay, great. So we we can start at FilesDB. So it's a little bit annoying because okay, so we've got it. We got PDF file and we got text file. And if so FilesDB, should I ask, can you complete from FilesDB? I don't think there's much left. Can you please complete the code starting from the FilesDB? Apologies for the truncation once again. Okay, so it will start here, and it's a little bit faster when it does it this time. It's a little bit interesting because how much is left? If you go into FindMyFile, yeah, FilesDB, it should be able to finish the program. And FilesDB represents the database of files. It stores a list of file objects and provides methods to search keywords within the files and return matching files. Yeah, these comments are excellent. Hands file data to the database, creating appropriate file objects. Like, I am sure that there is like some kind of automated creator of the readme.md for GitHub, and that uses doc strings. And I'm so going to use that. So far GPT-4 is absolutely crushing it on the documentation front. Like, this would take me ages. Okay, so this is done. There's only a couple lines left. Even if it stops, I'm just going to directly copy and paste from the previous program. I'm not going to ask it to continue anymore. So, okay, lovely. That's it. Copy code. And if I go into FindMyFile G, that's that. And I can essentially FindMyFile G. I will save this and I'll try running it. Amazing. Okay. So now let's begin with this. I would like to add a progress bar to the code or to my script. I am wondering if you can create a progress bar class which would calculate the number of files to be searched and show the progress bar as the files are being searched. Also include some example code to test the progress bar. Now, the challenge here is that it will really have to modify. I really want to ask it to do this very difficult thing, because the logical place to put the progress bar would be inside files DB, like to modify files DB, not to create a separate class, to modify files DB, and literally as the search is happening for file and files that the progress bar is being updated. I've asked it to add a separate class, which we'll see what it does. Okay, class progress bar, cool. This is interesting. So this feels like some kind of generic code. Example code to test the progress bar. Aha! It knows even where to put it. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is, I mean, like my feeling, I'm going to run this so that I understand it and play with it. But my feeling is that that is going to work. So I'm going to call this progress test.py. And I'm going to run it. Funny, when you press run, does it even go on the CMD? Yeah, that's the, if I select Python interpreter, if I select this one, will it run? Beautiful. Look at that. Okay. So, I don't know what it, self-iteration.self.total, print progress. It clearly must, so you dot format, self-iteration, float self.total, fixed length, bar, Okay. Now, it does say total files 50. So the total files are going to be, if I can just move this thing sideways. So FindMyFile G, I have too many things open. Okay, Excel tests. All right, so if I go into files DB and just, you're adding the file data and then you're searching it. So really self.files, self.length files, yeah, you're able to know the length of it before you start searching. The only problem is it takes longer to load this bloody database than it did. Like, the progress bar is just going to happen at the very end by the looks of it. So it won't be the most useful progress bar, but I have a feeling we're going to have a working progress bar. That's kind of crazy. So I'll chuck in the ahead of files DB. I'll just put the progress bar here. I don't know why I like these brackets. So if progress bar is there, And in FilesDB, in the search, I might just ask, can you please provide me with the entire FilesDB class? I always say please. I don't know why. I feel like, you know, be nice to your future overlords. With the progress bar integrated. Okay. While it's doing that, why don't I just look at updating the search function here. FilesDB search. So if I start at counter equals 0, actually, I'm just copying from there. Total, yeah, it's going to say self-length.files. So it's going to say that length is 50. Yeah, okay, so what I'm going to predict happens, and by no means is this even a complaint, but okay, this CMD there isn't cutting it. FindMyFile G. Let's do this. We'll do the G one. I'll control save to make sure it does it. And so see, it's loading the database. And then this happens. And it happens so quickly, and maybe it doesn't clear the screen properly. Let's try the WSL. We'll do the same thing. Wow, the sort of progress bar overwrites stuff. And so this is interesting. It isn't really working. So if I look at, well, we can make it work. We can make some little edits here. The problem is the same function that's printing the results is also running the progress bar, and then the progress bar is overriding the results, and it looks all very messy, right? And it rewrote FilesDB here in its entirety, and see, it still does the progress bar in the same sort of search function, whereas this is used if you use the library as a package. And add file data. This is it. I mean, ultimately, is it possible to use the progress bar in add file data function? That's kind of what I want to ask. Is it possible to use the progress bar inside add file data function? Data method. It's a method to demonstrate how the files are loading. You may need to add some more code at the start of the function to calculate the number of files. And the progress bar will show as they are read and added to FilesDB.files. Yes, to show the progress loading the files. Okay. Helper method, count files. So this is going to make our program slower. but it's going to be nice. I really, really, okay. Add file data. So maybe actually, if we count the files first, I don't know how much extra time it's going to take, but I think, So add file data's got the progress bar. I don't know if it's going to finish, but I'm very optimistic now. I might even try it on my own hard drive to look for stuff. Might go and get a folder that's like 100 megs or something like that. Okay, look, I don't need to do anything. You know, if file ends with, is this good coding? Like for file and files, do you need to call this thing every single time? I mean, can you not maybe just call it once at the top or once at the bottom? I think that would make a lot more sense. But nonetheless, I think we can just integrate this code. Like it's not, shouldn't be too hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into FindMyFile. I am going to get filesdb in its entirety to replace the new one. Wow, this highlights really fast. What's going on? There you go, filesdb. Okay, so I'm going to take filesdb. I'm going to roll it back nicely into that. And then I'm going to add the count files to filesdb. Gonna add count files. I am then going to update the add file data. And again, add file data, like, what does it end? We have txt finishing up. And yeah, you know, it's not amazing, but let's try let's try this. Let's clear screen. What? Save. Oh, loading files. And then the results. Ha! Let's watch that again. Ooh, so good. Man, I get satisfaction just watching it. So, look, for file and files, like, these are all the legit files, but even if it doesn't match any of them, like, these two should run. Like, they should run right up here. I mean, this is like, you know, superfluous programming right here. We don't need this, we don't need that. And Control S, save this. All right, rock and roll. Why can't I print it? My WSL is just crashed. Never mind. Let's go for CMD. Oh my God. I think I know why that didn't work. Let's roll it back. Okay, for file and files. What kind of other files is it looking at if... I don't know. Okay, this works well. One more time. Beautifully well. I'm going to take one more little attempt at trying to figure out what in the world is wrong with me iterating loaded files here. So if for file in files, so you do for root directory, nice walk. So for file in files, happens inside this other loop, which potentially, potentially 100% complete. Messes with things. I don't see, if you were to put this here, it would happen as many times as a hit on any one of these. Like, it doesn't make any sense why you would do that repeatedly. But this is what happens, you know? I shouldn't have pressed play. Not here. I need the CMD. Okay. So, since I don't understand it, I am going to ask the question. I'm going to go ahead and do it wrong. And I'm going to ask GPT-4, hey, this function produces or even just, can you please explain why my version of the function below does not print correctly? By the way, if you're still watching, respect. We got what we wanted out of GPT-4. I mean, I have my progress bar and it works beautifully. The only thing that I don't have is understanding of this file walk and, you know, why I can't basically iterate this counter right here and why I can't print progress. And of all times, it's chosen to sort of get stuck on me right now. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go and give back what it did. And I'm going to respect the genius of this computer. If I get the answer, I'm going to tack it on at the end, because ultimately all we need is an explanation. So yeah, that's it for now. Ooh, maybe not. I have the explanation here. Now the progress bar should be accurately working. If file ends with aha, essentially there's all kinds of hidden files that are in the system. That has to be it, because it has to end with one of those things for the progress bar to work properly. That's basically what it did. Is that increments loaded files updates progress bar every time encountered, regardless of whether it's a supported file or not. Essentially was what I thought as a progress bar region. So there's a lot of hidden system files that are in the folders. A lot more than I thought. Okay, that's all for this one. I hope you enjoyed this experience. Join me for many more in the near future. Bye-bye.